The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
Ahoy! Let's go! We're waking up Chicago. Turn up the radio. It's time to start the show. On Q101 with the morning crew. Ahoy! Let's go! Welcome to the morning show.
And it's Monday.
It's just one of those days where you don't want to wake up. Everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you want to justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact, and if you interact, your life is on contract. Your best bet is to stay away, mother. It's just one of those days. It's all about the he says, she says bullshit. I think you better quit, let it slip, or you'll be leaving with a fat lip.
All right, let's go. It's Monday. Let's get into it. It's going to be a pretty nice day. It's 34 at 6:02, but it could be in the 60s depending on where you are around Chicagoland. We have Alkaline Trio tickets coming up in about an hour in Clash with Kenzie. That show coming up this weekend, right?
That's right. Saturday night, Aragon Ballroom.
Wow, Saturday night of St. Patty's Day weekend, and it's not the first day. We start off Friday, remember, this week. This Friday is our broadcast from Lizzie McNeil's, one of our favorite places, and it's going to get a little, turned up, as the kids used to say. They still say turned up.
I haven't heard it since about 2017, which means it's right to bring back.
I think we should bring back turned up.
I agree.
Yeah.
And if you're new here, and maybe you haven't been to a St. Patrick's Day broadcast before, just to be clear, we'll be at Lizzie McNeil's this time on Friday.
Yes.
6 to 10 a.m. It's the show.
Yeah, 6 a.m., and we have free breakfast for the first people to get through the door. Amazing A-level concert tickets, elite shows, you will, every 15 minutes.
Noah Kahn, Limp Bizkit, Cage the Elephant, LCD Sound System, Bridget Calls Me Baby, Dave Matthews Band,
Wow.
Vampire Weekend, just to name a few.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So that is Friday, Lizzie McNeil's. If you don't know where exactly it is, just go to Q101.com. It's only a stone's throw from the studios right near Navy Pier off Illinois and on the water. So it's a great setting. It's going to be a nice week. You know, some of those St. Patty's Days have been freezing, like 10 degrees.
That's right. No, it's going to be beautiful out. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Yeah.
We're going to have a good time.
Green beer. We have the vaccines performing live, too, on site. So that's cool, too.
I'm going to raise some hell.
Are you?
Oh, God, yeah.
Are you going to – now, I haven't heard raise some hell in a long time.
Not since, I think, Stone Cold Steve Austin retired.
Let's do a quick poll here to start off. Which is something you haven't heard longer ago? I worded that really poorly.
You want to do a take two on that one?
Okay, let's do a take two. What have you heard more recently? Is that a better way to say it?
I think that's better.
What have you heard more recently? Raise some hell or turned up? Text in 312-591-8300.
I really haven't heard Turned Up in a while now that you say it.
I haven't heard raise some hell, though, in a while.
Well, that's what I'm going to be doing Friday, Lizzie McNeil, 6 to 10 a.m. Free entry.
All right, get into it. 312-591-8300. And you know what? It's 3/11 day,
It is.
March 11th. So sprinkle in some 3/11 here. Cody checked in real early on this. Happy 3/11 day. I remember back in the day here at Q101, way back in the day, when 3/11 did a secret show. Much like Limp Bizkit, I gave clues out on the air where it was, and it turns out it was in Block 47, or is it 48? What do they call that thing?
I don't know.
It's over in the Broadway district where there's a little shopping center there now and stuff. But back then it was this plot of land in the middle of the city where there was nothing.
Is it Block 37?
Block 37, that's what it is.
That's why I didn't know it.
I'm sure you know all about Block 37.
Oh, I mean, what can I tell you?
I called it Block 48. So it was this little area of the city downtown that they just didn't know what to do with. They were going to put a casino there, and they should have, and they didn't. and they were going to put a concert venue there, and that didn't happen. It was just this piece of dirt right by all the theaters, and 311 played a live show on site out there.
That sounds incredible.
Like 2005, I'm thinking of, something like that.
Right in the 311 wheelhouse, baby. But even 2019, when they did Twisted Christmas, they were phenomenal.
They closed out the 5 nights of Twisted in 2019, and they crushed. Nick Hexum came on stage with a Cubs jersey. It was, I think it was a Zobrist jersey. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Here's what I always think of when I think of 311.
Yes.
I think about a conversation we had off the air one day.
Okay.
We were in your car, in your Nissan Rogue, 2019 Nissan Rogue.
Thank you.
You said when you die to try to get 311 to play your funeral.
Yeah.
And I think about that constantly.
Yeah.
I think about how I'm going to make that happen.
Yeah, I think at one point we were talking about, what do you want at your funeral on the air? And I just said I want 311 there. Maybe we should play some 311 next.
That's fine with me.
Let's start off after the break here. Coming up at 6:20 for all you 311 heads, you wake and bakers, even though I'm not even sure how much of them really smoke a lot of weed today because they all look great in their 50s. I'm not saying that makes you look bad smoking a lot of weed, but they used to smoke a lot of weed. I mean,
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
All right, to resolve a couple things we just brought up in the opening of the show, way more people have heard Raise Some Hell more recently than Let's Get Turned Up.
That's true.
We're going to get things turned up. However, 847 checked in. He must work at a prison or a jail. A cop, maybe. I don't know, a guard. He says, all the jail inmates say they're going to get turned up when they're pissed at us. But otherwise, I don't hear it much. So I guess that's a code word. We're going to get turned up here. It means they're going to really come out and tear up the place.
That's really good intel. I'm glad I know that now.
Yes. And also, we told you today's 311 day, and my love for the band 311 is documented well.
You love 311.
I really do. Because they're great musicians. They put on an incredible show, and they've continually been doing it for 30 years. In fact, I'm not 100% sure this is an exact fact, but fight me on this one, that 311 is the longest running band with the same lineup in music today. There's not another band with a lineup going that long. They've never changed their lineup.
You flipped into Howard Dean mode for a second there. There's another band, the same lineup, they're going all around the country.
So tell me a band that's been around as long as them, that's had no interruptions with their lineup, and then prove me wrong on that. I'd love to hear about it.
I can't think of one.
I have searched, and people bring up bands, well, the Rolling Stones. No. They've been around for 80 years, but they've changed band members a ton of times.
Well, not to be crass, but one of them just died, so it can't be the Rolling Stones.
It can't be them. No, one guy died.
And rest in peace, pour one out.
Charlie Watts, incredible drummer.
Yeah, I don't like that he died, but he's disqualified from the contest now.
It's got to be noted, and you noted it, so very callously, by the way, but that's fine.
it's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah. So 311 also on 311 Day, because it's March 11th, they're doing a live stream. So make sure you go to their website and their socials. They're doing a live stream as they do every year around this time. And also it's funny when you go to their website, they have a cruise, a 311 cruise.
Imagine the type of people that go on a 311 cruise.
It should be me.
You should be hosting the cruise. You should be the captain of the ship.
Well, I don't like cruise. I've never been on a cruise.
Neither have I.
I'm afraid to be trapped on a boat that long.
I would never go on one.
But it's March 26th to 31st, 2025, a Caribbean cruise, Miami to the great Stirrup Cay in Nassau, Bahamas, Nassau. Sign up right there at 311cruise.com or on their website. So do that.
Wow. Well, can we hear some 311?
Let's do it. 311 Day, are you ready? Is for Cody, who checked it, had to hear some, and I'm with you, my man. It is Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Okay, I'm happy. It's all good. I can go home now.
That hit way better than I was expecting. And I had high hopes going into it, but man, was that good.
Yeah. See the difference? See that? You just play a little 311 and you just feel good. Like Case and me had this little dance party going on here. We did not film it because for fear of scaring people to see me and him dancing. But 311, that's why I love the band so much. It just makes you feel good. And people like to blow them off all the time and go like, I don't know. And then but then when the song hits, it hits different. I hope it hit for you like that too. Maybe I'm wrong.
They got hits, baby.
They got
that
hits.
Is good stuff.
And they just know what they're doing. They got it right. You know what I mean? when I first heard all mixed up, I was like, you know what? These guys got it right.
That is funny you say that because I had that same thought when I saw The Offspring at the Aragon 2 years ago, where there are those bands you see live and they're always doing something new and there's an added element and you never really know what you're going to see. And then there's bands like 311 and The Offspring. You know what you're getting. It's good every time. They don't need to change anything. They are just in a rhythm, and it's always enjoyable.
Okay, so I did make a statement. It said 311's the longest running band with the original lineup, and fight me on that, prove me wrong, and some people did. But there's not many in this club. So U2 came up.
Ugh.
And I think they might do it. I know they haven't changed their lineup. I thought they did a tour without the drummer when his mom died, but I guess I'm wrong about that. I don't know if that counts either.
I'm also not going to hold that against them.
I agree. You give them a pass on that, but I also thought that 311's never done a tour either with anybody filling in. So I may have to dig deeper on that, but I'm going to give you that one. U2 is probably correct because they've been around 40 years. 311's been around since 1988 as the original lineup.
Which is the same year that Green Day formed. We had some people checking in about Green Day. Let's call that a tie because Green Day also has had the same members throughout.
Does it say 88 or 87 with Green Day?
I thought I saw 88.
Okay, if it's 88, then it's good. Now we have to find out the month that they actually got together and formed. So what we're going to do next is we're going to get Green Day and 311 on the phone.
And luckily they're both on the West Coast, so obviously they're awake right now.
Okay, chances are we won't get them on the phone, but we'll get to the bottom of it somehow. But obviously, I can't think anything could beat U2.
No, but here's the thing. 311 has contributed so much more to music in a positive way than U2 ever has.
Well, now we're getting into a take here.
So I have to crown Nick Hexum and the boys at 311 the kings of this. I don't want to give U2 any credit.
I know.
You know who I want to see at the Sphere is 311.
Oh, well, now we're cooking with gas.
Oh, my God.
But U2 is pretty amazing. I love them. They're incredible. I'd like to see them at the Sphere and then see 311. 311 should be the next residency at the Sphere. Okay, so there we go. 311 Day. We'll get into it again a little later. That's all good positive stuff. Now the negative stuff. Today you have the best chance to die of any other day in the year.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you.
Oh, my God.
I know, it's terrible. We'll explain why.
I was so happy about 311
I'm sorry it timed out that way. Think about 311, but we'll give this fact that may save your life, actually, today. Because you have a really good chance of dying today. Or I should say, the best chance to die the entire year. Today's that day. Sorry, but think about 311 for a minute. Yeah.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
Well, before we get to the fact that makes your brain go, I want to finish up some more of this 311 stuff. We said it's 311 Day. But the fact today, by the way, is you have a better chance to die today than any other day of the year. So you have to stay here because it's pretty terrifying. Now, just so you know, Kara Caravu just walked in the studio. She's okay.
Yeah, I was worried.
A lot of people were concerned about you and wanted to check in because you weren't right here at the beginning. And they go like, we let Kara just kind of stroll in when she wants because we love her.
You said 6:30 to me, just to be clear.
Oh, boy.
But it was...
I don't remember saying that.
It's a tired day today, though. It always hits me on Monday, the
Yeah.
Monday after the time change.
Okay, so before we do that, do you like 311?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so at 311 Day, and people were reminiscing a little bit on 311 Day. 708 checked in. I remember seeing 311 at the Warped Tour 20 years ago, and there was so much smoke in the air, I could not see the band. That's a good one. And then Ahmad checked in at 708. The only show I've been to, I fully don't remember of all the concerts I've seen, was 311 with Cypress Hill.
Ooh.
It was at the Aragon in the early 2000s. I don't remember
I
what he
kind of
says.
remember hearing about that. That's cool.
Yeah, there's they really were that band that the smoke filled the room, and I believe at one point Nick stopped smoking because his voice was getting affected, so the other guys just got their own tour buses. Yes, I love 311. There's a great picture of me with them from Twisted 8.
That's right, on Q101's Facebook page. And I have to note there's a comment from Mikey on that photo who said that was the first of the now 56 times that he has seen 311.
Jeez.
Was at Q101's Twisted Christmas 8 in 2001.
I don't mean to keep throwing out this 311 facts and things, but at that show, at that Twisted 8 at the United Center, the power went out when 311 was playing.
Oh.
Not the lights, but the stage power went out, and they kept playing, and they didn't realize it because they can't tell on stage what's going on.
Yeah, they hear it in the monitor?
So they said, you got to get out there and go do something. So I just went out on stage, and then I talked to my mic, and then it didn't work. So I fell to the floor, and then they went into this kind of instrumental jam for a while until the power came back on for the mics and everything. It was a memorable.
You fell by accident or dived?
I fell because my mic didn't work. I didn't know what else to do.
So you stopped,
So you
dropped, and rolled?
Yeah. I pulled a very, a comedic fall.
Okay, all right.
As
you're prone to do.
I became Chevy Chase for a second. More 311 memories coming in. Saw 311 at the Ballroom, probably that show at the Aragon the guys talked. My buddy won the tickets from Q101. It was an amazing show. We both had 2 cigarette packs full of joints. We started in the back of the Aragon, and within 5 or 6 songs, we were in the front by the barricade, and we shared all the joints with the people around us. So they let us go ahead. That's how we got ahead of everybody that wouldn't let us
smart.
go. Now, they still had some joints left for themselves by the time they got there.
God willing, they did.
See how great things are when you just...
311 brings everybody together.
Oh.
There's an election this year. America's going to be very divided. Everybody should listen to 311. It would bring us closer together.
I will vote for the candidate that uses beautiful disaster as their phone. Okay, so now to the fact that makes your brain go, so you have a better chance to die today after something so positive. I'm sorry to go into something so negative, but I want to make sure you're aware of it so you can watch yourself. So you have a better chance to die today than any other day. Liz checked in from Aurora before we get there saying, good thing I'm on my way to my hospital job. And also
Liz.
708 said, ugh, a little unnerved. I'm heading to a funeral today.
Ooh, how
Because
they
of this-
type ooh.
They just went, well, you just spell it, ugh.
You know.
So some people have guessed it, a couple people, but the reason you have this problem today is daylight savings. So because of the time change, you lost that hour. There are more heart attacks today than any other day.
Today, but not yesterday?
Not yesterday, because yesterday you might have been able to sleep in. But today, a lot of times when you party really hard or go to a concert and you yell, it's not the next day. It's the next day after that you really feel the effects of it.
Definitely after the time change. It always is Monday for me.
So the American Heart Association says there's a 24% increase in heart attacks today on the first Monday after clock shift. A separate one in Finland found an 8% bump in strokes of the first 2 days of the time change.
Wow.
Not 100% sure why it happens, but it's disrupting the body's internal clock. And today's the first day people, mostly work. I know people work on Sundays too, but today's really the day when the millions go to work, and it's affected that way. So this is one reason why. Also, sleep-deprived drivers. Again, you don't feel it till the second day. A 6% increase in fatal crashes.
That. Yep.
Yes, in fatal crashes.
Kara, how was the ride in this
It was
morning?
awful. There was people going, well, I mean, the traffic was fine. The driving was awful. I hate people that go slow in the fast lane, first of all. But and other people were zipping around, which could have been because of the slow people in the fast lane. But, I felt like I was on a racetrack this morning. Also, I was in a hurry.
Well, clearly. But you made it, but you didn't see anybody have a heart attack on the road, did you?
Well, no. It's dark out. I couldn't see in their cars, but nobody crashed. So I'm assuming no.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know so far. So that means the odds are even worse for you if you're listening now. Because
Kara survived.
Kara survived and no one else took up those percentages. So the Grim Reaper ain't waiting around.
Oh, no.
Death waits for no man.
So be careful out there today.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101, and Kara Caravu's here filling in for Kenzie on maternity leave. This is usually the show where we kind of say, hey, if you want to shout out something on your weekend that was awesome, or even if it was terrible, we like to hear about it. We can maybe make you feel better. Boy, things aren't going well with how I had 311 day, and then the fact was very depressing. But I helped out John. The fact was that makes your brain go, in case you just joined us, was you have a better chance to die today than any other day of the year because of the time change. It causes more heart attacks and fatal accidents. John in 219 just said, thanks for the heads up. I just called off work.
Good for you, John.
That's right, John. That's what you
Smart
should
idea.
do. Yeah. I'm not leaving the house if it's that scary out there. I've got an Xbox. I'm all good.
Take a nap.
Yeah, take a nap, buddy. Did you go see the Eagles Friday,
I did.
Kara?
It was good.
Yeah, give us a little vibe check, a 15-second review on the Eagles and on their 7th farewell tour.
Well, at the end, they said, we'll probably be back. So
God.
that's my opinion about their farewell part of the tour.
So Glenn Fry's dead, and his son...
His son's good. He's got a voice.
Yeah, his
I
son
like
plays
him.
for him.
Yeah.
They got Vince Gill in the band, too, the country guy.
Joe Walsh, she's my favorite.
Joe Walsh is amazing.
Yeah, it could be just Joe Walsh, and I'd go.
Did they mention about the lyric scandal thing with Hotel California?
They did not. I kind of was hoping that they would. Although, what are they going to say?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So good show.
Yeah.
I got offered a ticket from Dan Wolf down the hall, and I said, there's no way my in-laws showing up at
Right.
6. I can say, hi, bye, I'm going to the Eagles, because they would probably want to go. And it's exactly what happened. I told my father-in-law I had this Eagles ticket I gave up for. He goes like, well, you're damn right you can't go if I can't go. And I'm like,
Steely Dan was good opening up. I didn't realize so many of their songs were about drugs. My friend who took me was like, this song's about heroin. I'm like, Steely Dan?
yeah.
You know,
Well, I guess I don't know either, to be honest. I mean, I
Yeah.
know their music, and it's really good to chill out to.
Yes.
I'd love to see Case listening to Steely Dan.
I'm not a fan.
Do a first listen of Steely Dan.
I will not be doing that.
Yeah, it's too jazzy.
Well,
Yeah.
I went to high school and college with a kid who now lives in Nashville as a musician there, and he worships Steely Dan.
Yeah.
And we could never come together on that
Yeah.
one. He would always play me. I'm like, this is awful. I don't know how you listen to this.
It's like that scene in Knocked Up when he's trying this. Paul Rudd is trying to sell that. It's like, what are you talking about? And Seth Rogen goes like, Steely Dan licks balls. And
I couldn't have said it better myself.
it's like, but people that love them will go, you're just too stupid to understand the musicianship. And what they accomplish are so good. I've had so many of those arguments about bands, but try to convince people that they're really musically talented, but no one else wants to hear
This is
that.
your
Right.
311 argument.
Oh, a little bit. The 311's very talented, but they keep it turned up as
Yes,
well.
they
Yes.
do.
They
yes.
raise some hell.
Yeah.
Steely Dan licks balls.
Faith No More does not. It's Q101.
Brian and Kenzie.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. And we have sports coming up. Huge Bears news coming up about the stadium. I know we've talked about this, and you think like, oh, it's just another little story about the stadium. No, this is huge. Coming up about the new Bears football stadium. Gil Curtis with your Oscar headlines here in a second, too. Kara, before we move on, so Steely Dan, you mentioned you saw them with the Eagles. A listener said, do you look up what Steely Dan is named after?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
want to read it?
I look up what Steely Dan is named the band after. I've already been told.
Oh, you already knew
I didn't
this.
have to look. Well, when I found out the songs are about drugs, too. I'm
Okay,
like,
what's Steely Dan named after?
it's named after a electric friend of a lady.
Wow.
Or battery operated.
When I Googled it, it said a revolutionary steam-powered dildo.
Oh, okay.
Don't say that word, Brian. That's not a word for you.
I was hoping
I've
Kara
never.
would just say it like it is.
No, that's
I
not a
didn't
word you can
actually
say.
Google it, but that's. I don't even know what that means.
Well, maybe you need to dive more into it before you see these bands. Know what kind of
Do I have
band?
a homework assignment?
Yeah, know what kind of band you're going to see. If anybody else had any highlights of the weekend, send them in 312-591-8300. And it's Gil Curtis with your Oscar headlines.
This is not headline news. We lost an hour yesterday. 4 if you also watched the Oscars. Yes, the 96th annual Oscars aired last night. Oppenheimer won 7 Oscars. Jimmy Kimmel also paid tribute to it by bombing. Billie Eilish got a standing ovation after her performance. Not because of the song, because she actually smiled. Al Pacino presented Best Picture to Oppenheimer. Sort of.
And I have to go to the envelope for that. Here it comes. And my eyes see Oppenheimer.
And after last night, Los Angeles is completely out of Ozempic. This is not headline news.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.